Hi everyone, my name is Damien and this is my very first YouTube video. I've been wanting to do a YouTube channel for quite some time now. I do a lot of DIYs at home, so I thought maybe I should start recording them. I'll be focusing more on the contemporary and modern art and sometimes like pop art rather than kind of like what's popular right now on YouTube, which is farmhouse and boho style. I might do stuff like that in the future, but as of right now, I want to create stuff that is kind of weird and cool and abstract and just fun to make. Besides me doing the art project, I also want to talk to you a little bit about the art history or the artist, or if it's kind of like a trend going on. I don't think many DIYers give you that information. As an artist, I like to find ways to, break that like creative block that sometimes we get. And so I look for a bunch of references, and that really helps. If anything, if you don't make the type of art that I'm gonna be making, maybe you can just get inspired and create your own version of it or something totally different. So this video is going to focus on the artworks by the American artist Daniel Arsham. I consider him to be kind of like the modern Andy Warhol. He's working on so many industries right now. He's doing short films with James Franco, doing sculptures with Pharrell Williams. He's working for fashion houses like Dior, Uniqlo, and I think even Pokemon. He's doing little like Pikachu sculptures. So for my first project, I'm getting inspired by his Moon series. He created this back in 2016. I believe he created all sorts of different objects, kind of like candles, flags. He did it in a wall installation showing kind of like the moon phases, and they all look very modern and sleek. And he only uses one color in every project that he does. And I think this is because he's color blinded. So I just find it really cool that he's an artist, but he's color blinded. He uses a lot of like royal blues and hot pinks, really strong colors that gets his attention. So if you're interested in seeing how I did this rotating moon globe, let's jump into the first project. Welcome to the voiceover section now. I'm such a YouTuber. I love it. No, but for this first project, I went to Amazon and I got this rotating globe that was around $11. I believe it was the cheapest one I could find, but I know Dollar Tree had one for just $1, but I just couldn't find it anymore. So this was my second option. So to start up, I'm doing a little bit of sanding on the whole globe because it was, it's plastic, so it was very like sleek and smooth. So since I'm using spackle to put all over this globe, I needed a little bit of like a grip for it to like stick onto it. So yeah, I just sanded the whole thing, and then I'm going to be using a Dollar Tree spackle that you see here. I believe the brand is Tool Bench. It's just $1, and I believe I used 2 or 3 little buckets. I think it was 2. So just $2. Not much to it. So yeah, what I'm doing now for the second step is putting the spackle all over it. And the spackle already has that, kind of like grainy texture. So it already looks like a moon. The tricky part is just adding it all into the globe since it's a little bit wet. The next step is to create those craters. And I'm using a carving tool that I had from college. You just have to be careful because look, I took up a little bit too much. So, I just stuck it in there. But yeah, also don't mind my pink fingers. Maybe you didn't even notice, but I was eating Takis or hot Cheetos or something like that. But yeah, so I'm just creating just a couple random craters. I'm not even gonna worry about, if they look exactly like the moon or whatever, just to give it that effect. But see how once the spackle dried up, I was able to just create those craters very easily. It almost acts like kind of like clay. you just carve it, and it's very manageable and easy to work with. And now my favorite part of any DIY, to paint. And for this one, I'm using this spray paint that I had in blue, sail blue, from Rust-Oleum. And this is gonna be the most simple painting process I've ever done. It's just gonna be putting it on top and just on one side. You see how it created the same effect as Daniel's moon. And I believe his has that black stand, but my stand was looking very cheap and just black and plasticky. So I'm using this Krylon stone spray paint in gray, and it's gonna give it a more high-end look. And now we have the stand. It honestly only needed one coat. That stone spray paint was really good. So now I'm just gonna add it here. This whole project took me about maybe a day or two. It was just a matter of waiting for the spackle to dry. But then the carving and the spray painting, that was just a couple hours in between while it was, drying up or whatever. But here is the final look. So that was the first project. I think it came out pretty good, right? It's not as detailed as the original one, but it was really fun to make. And it wasn't really that expensive either. I think I did it under 20 bucks. So that's always a plus. So for my second project, I'm getting inspired by his most recent collaboration with the fashion house Dior. Daniel Arsham has a very particular look to himself. I was comparing him to Andy Warhol. And when you think of Andy Warhol, you think of him either as the artist, the banana and the Marilyn Monroe prints, or you think of him as like that spiky white hair, which was a wig, or the glasses, the camera, the leather black jacket, or the stripes t-shirt. Daniel Arsham, I feel like he's been working on creating himself also as a persona. He's always wearing like a lab coat, a hat, his rounded glasses, boots, very kind of like utilitarian workwear. I feel like that's opening doors for him also in the fashion industry. He created like pretty much everything from the shoes, the clothes, everything kind of reminiscent of his own style. So I'm getting inspired by the runway show that he created. He made some really cool giant letters that spell out Dior. They look kind of like the excavation future relics, where he has encrusted crystals into them. I was looking into my stash of things that I've been wanting to DIY, and I found this letter. I think it's wood, and I found it, I think it was in Walmart for like under $10. It was perfect for this project because it has kind of like a hollow inside. I thought maybe I can put like crystals inside of it and cover the whole thing up. So if you were interested in seeing how I did that, let's jump into the second project. For this second project, a wooden D that I think I got from Walmart, some crystals from Michael's, and some modeling clay that I bought from, actually I think it was also from Michael's, and I had a coupon, so it was just about $9. So my process here is going to be adding a first layer of the modeling clay on that hollow space that I have in there. Then I'm going to add the crystals. Then we're gonna cover the whole thing up, wait for it to dry, and then we're gonna crack it open in some spots to give it that eroded look that Daniel Arsham has. So stay tuned for that whole process. And now that we have our first layer of the modeling clay, and before it gets dry, I'm going to be adding the crystals. I'm not using any special glue or anything. I'm just going to stick them in there. I'm using these mint color crystals and clear ones because that's pretty much Daniel Ashram's branding. It's a lot of that mint color and white. It looks very minimalistic and clean. And I'm doing the same thing for the opposite side. The next step is to cover the whole thing up with another layer of the modeling clay. This time around, we're gonna cover everything, including the crystals. Okay, so now after everything is nice and covered, I'm going to smooth it out a little bit and let it dry for at least 48 hours. Now the fun begins. Let's crack this baby open. So in the beginning I was using these carving tools that I have, but I was just not doing much to it. So I literally went with my hammer and started just cracking it open. And then I'm using a bigger flathead tool to make bigger holes. So as you can see, that worked perfectly. That's the look that we want. We want that eroded, cracked look. I also tried doing it with just the hammer, but it was just not the same as with the flathead. So I went ahead and continued using the flathead, and as you can see, like, it works perfectly. This is an optional step. I'm going to sand it. You don't have to do it if you want it to look more organic, but I just really like that clean look of the Dior letters, so I'm going to sand it even and just polish it a little bit more. And finally, my favorite step on the DIY, painting. I'm using white acrylic paint. It's very easy to use, and I want that clean, crisp plaster look, so I'm just using white. I wouldn't do it in any crazy colors, just because this piece is supposed to look aged and cracked, so vibrant colors wouldn't really make sense with it. It would take off that minimalist look. So I think just plain white or pastel colors would look good with it. I covered the whole thing up with 4 coats, and this is the final look. So those were my very first DIY projects for this channel, and all credits go to Daniel Ashram. He's the one that created those art pieces, but I thought it would be fun to get into his mindset on how he creates things. I'm not always going to be recreating things. I already know what I'm gonna be doing for my next video. But if you would like to see kind of like a part 2 of this video, please let me know down in the comments below. I might know already what I wanna do. He has this really cool like melting wall like on top of a mirror. And there's another piece where it's kind of like a figurine and it's hollow inside. I don't know how I can do it, but you know, I'm up for the challenge. So yeah, just let me know if you would like to see that on a video. That's all I have for you today. I'm gonna be trying to post every Sunday, And the same video is going to be posted, but in Spanish on Wednesdays. So if you have a friend that speaks Spanish, share the link of that video with them. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Ciao. ¿Cómo se dice?